My name is Mark Silverthorn, and I'm the social media director of the Ontario Model Soldier Society. Today, our topic is things every new toy soldier collector should know. Our special guest today is Scott, a member of the Ottawa chapter of the Ontario Model Soldier Society. Scott is a YouTuber. The name of his YouTube channel is Scott Soldiers. Have you ever found a display case on someone's boulevard?
You saw one of my videos. Yeah, I was driving through the neighborhood one day on a garbage day, and this person obviously had put out two display cases. I don't know, maybe they had something in it, and they were throwing out whatever they had in it, and decided the cases should follow. And yeah, I hit the brakes because I thought, wait a minute, you don't see that every day. Got out, looked at it, and it was like standing next to the garbage. And I know a little bit about the law. If it's out at the corner on a garbage day, it's there for anybody. And so there I am. I'm trying to, one person trying to pick up a, obviously large display case with glass shelves, and that's where the weight is the glass shelves, because they have to be a certain thickness to hold something on them. And as I'm getting one and forcing it into the back of our van, another car pulls up right behind me, and they're like, "Are you taking the other?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's mine." It's like a junkyard dog. Grr, get away! It's mine. The guy
I
was like, "Oh,
think
okay,
that was
okay."
that's the scene from the Trailer Park Boys.
Rather pathetic, but I looked at it later and said, "Man, I saved myself probably several $100s. They were in excellent shape, and I needed somewhere to put my stuff in, and so I was like, first come, first serve. Get away, Earth, mine."
I'm looking at those display cabinets behind you, and you must live in a much nicer neighborhood than I do. That's pretty high quality that they're.
Yeah, never go to a neighborhood that's just been built, right? New neighborhoods are a waste of time. You want to find old toy soldiers or display cabinets, go to old established neighborhoods. It saves time rather than going through the obituary notices or estate sales. Yeah.
If I have never purchased a toy soldier before, I'm interested in the hobby. I want to get into it. I don't want to make all the mistakes that you've made. So, what are some of the things that you can share with us that would help a new collector?
Yeah. There's nothing like following the path well tread. Um, in no particular order, and everybody has an opinion on this who's been a collector for more than a week. I'd say, first of all, toy soldiers are not an investment. So don't let that be your guide. Thinking that this is my retirement plan, or in lieu of gold or Apple stock, I'm going to go out and buy secondhand toy soldiers. They're not an investment. They do not increase in value. In fact, they decrease in value.
Scott, what about the different types of materials that toy soldiers are made out of?
Oh, absolutely, Mark. I mean, everyone thinks metal, and that's wrong. Metal was really what sort of kick-started this, because this hobby goes back to the days when Britons got started at the beginning, or the late 19th century, early 20th century. But plastic, the things they're doing with plastic right now in terms of 3D and molds is equal to or greater than metal. And consequently, so is the weight and cost. The other thing is, plastics have come a long way from where they tended to be fragile or easily break, or they came out of the molds and they were all bent the wrong way. That, to my mind, has also been corrected. The other thing is resins. Resins are a nice complement to metal and plastic, because, again, the amount of detail you can introduce, the reduction in weight, so the shipping costs are less for makers, and so the price should proportionally be less. Lastly, I would say 1/6. So you don't have to go for what we call a toy soldier, something you can hold in your hand. You can go up to 1/6, and they've come a long way also from the days of G.I. Joe or Action Man.
Scott, can you talk a little bit about sort of strategic considerations in terms of what historical era a person is going to collect or what scale?
I think a lot of people would say collect what you love, what you like, and that will dictate to you the scale, um, as opposed to just saying, well, I'm going to buy nothing but 54 millimeter or 56 millimeter or 1/6, whatever it is. So collect what you like, what you love, what you're passionate about. That should be your guide. And so if you're into Napoleonic, you can do that in any scale. In fact, for that matter, you can collect in any scale, in any part of history or regiment or nation, whatever you're looking for. So follow your heart, follow your passion, and that will take you to the scale. After that, it's really what maker do you like? What style that they do is your preference, and it also will dictate maybe what you can afford. The other thing I'd say is if you're thinking of buying, space is finite. So if you're going to try and go out and collect the beach, you've got to put the beach somewhere. And so always keep that in mind, that unless you have somewhere to put them, they can quickly overtake your house. And some collectors who are watching this know who I'm talking about. You end up having to have off sites to store these things. And at that point, my own perspective is, what's the point?
What would you say about retaining the original box when you purchase a new figure?
Yeah, we were always taught throw away the boxes as kids, right? You don't need the box. You can see your parents just taking it away. The 5 days after Christmas, the box ended up with the tree, right? No, today you want to keep the boxes. I was talking with a toy soldier maker in London 10 days ago, and we were joking, and he was saying, yeah, I can, people are always looking for, how do I reduce the cost of this purchase? And well, you don't get the box. That's only going to save you £5. So the box has a value right there. £5 or whatever cost it was to the maker. But it's also a way to protect your soldiers, so that if you are going to store them or if you're moving, you're not having to sit there and wrap them up in acid-free paper or go to somewhere and buy some bubble paper and wrap them up and then take the chance that, how did that bayonet get broken or bent out of shape? But if you're going to be downsizing, or if you're going to sell it later to somebody else, probably the first question they're going to ask is, do you have the box? Because the box is part of the package. It's part of the deal. And it's just something that we as collectors want to have, to not only protect it, but as part of the provenance of that figure. And you often see that in some auctions that they have online, they're selling the boxes as well.
What kind of advice can you give to people when it comes to displaying toy soldiers?
There's a lot of thought about how should you do it, and I would argue any way you can, in any way your space will allow you. So whether it's just a simple shelf on a wall, or putting them in a bookshelf, or, well, you can see behind me here, I have display cabinets that I put them in. And there's a lot of argument about, well, should they be oak or not oak, pine, how much should you spend? Should they be lighted or not lighted? What kind of lights? Everybody has an opinion. My response is, do your research on the internet, talk to people in the hobby and see what they say, and go from there. But I think if you're going to spend the money, and you are spending what is essentially maybe your grocery money for the week on a number of figures or a set, put them out. Club membership. Now there's an investment. If you're going to get into this, spend for Ontario Model Soldier Society, it's $40. That's the price of a dinner. But that is an investment, because you're going to meet people who can help guide you along the way, can share with you their own personal mistakes and some of their really good decisions they made. And you're going to meet new people, make new friends, and start learning more about the hobby. The learning curve is much faster through a membership, or if you're over in the UK, the British Model Soldier Society. But honestly, I can't say it enough. I can't emphasize it enough. Join a club, and even if it means you're only an online member because you can't travel to where it is. And that could be, both the British Model Soldier Society or the Ontario Model Soldier Society. They have online activities that you can participate in. And again, it's just going to make the hobby so much more enjoyable. One of the things I would add is, and I mentioned earlier, is knowledge is power for a new collector. And it's like when you collect anything, you're going to be spending money and time and resources that you could be doing something else for, or something else with. And I think the term in economics is opportunity costs. And so if you're going to go down this path, information and knowledge is power. And the internet is something that has a lot of resources out there for you in whatever language you're looking for. And it's something that didn't exist 25 or 30 years ago for a lot of us when we started off. We had to go to the library and get hard copy books, or to a bookstore and do the same thing, or subscribe to magazines. And you can still do that if searching on the internet is tiresome, or you don't have the interest, is looking for secondhand books or magazines that might be out there. And getting those at a much reduced cost, and that can supplement your collection and help to inform you. And there are a lot of really good books out there that go back 30, 40 years ago, and even some that are more contemporary. And I'll just show one here, and it's really a generic book by a well-known author. It's Collecting Toy Soldiers in the 21st Century, and it's by a guy named James Opie. And he's really the eminence grise of toy soldier collecting and of William Britton's. And he's written a number of books, but there's other people out there. There's Norman Joplin. And there's also magazines, and I've shown the magazine already at the beginning, Toy Soldier Collector. You can get a hard copy delivered to your house or your apartment, or they have online subscriptions. And again, for the cost, you're going to get information that you're not going to get standing on a corner or maybe at your local hobby shop. It's just not going to come to you that way.
Collecting toy soldiers, there's two seasons. There's a season where you're acquiring your collection, and then there's a season when your collection is being liquidated. And that could be, no, you may be downsizing where you live,
Yeah.
or you may drop dead, but your collection is going to outlive you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's metal. It'll outlive you.